Arata had just stepped into the bathroom when he realized his youngest sister was inside, so he had to step back out, but then she unexpectedly asked her big brother to scrub her back like always. After helping Kotono scrub her back, Arata even reminded his little sister to bathe with warm water to stay healthy. Inside one of the most luxurious mansions in Tokyo, the 7 Shianji siblings live an incredibly happy life. The story begins with the main character, Arata, asking Emerson to teach him how to flirt with girls, but his younger brother ignores him, leaving Arata extremely frustrated. As the young master of the Shianji family, Arata has plenty of options, but he was born with a timid nature when it comes to girls. People often say that one day you'll meet your destined girl, but Arata never believed in that kind of fate. Right at that moment, the 5 Shianji sisters walk in. 2 guys cuddling together first thing in the morning. Where's the dignity of an heir in that? From left to right, first is the shy youngest sister Kotono, next is the eldest with short hair Benri, in the middle is the energetic 4th sister Minami, then the sharp-tongued Uka, and finally the bookworm 2nd sister Seiha. According to Seiha's statistics, 60% of men usually talk about dirty stuff, so Uka thinks Arata is asking Shion to tell him adult stories, which makes Grandpa really embarrassed. To make matters worse, Emerson just had to add fuel to the fire, so Uka told the dog to go bite him. Uka and Seiha are both absolutely delighted when Arata gets bitten by the dog because that's what he deserves for always looking at the 5 sisters with such a pervy gaze. And Arata fires back, saying, "What the heck do you guys even have that would make me look at you like that, huh?" Banri also sympathizes with Arata, saying that living every day with 5 beautiful sisters like this, it's only natural. But Seiha disagrees, saying there's nothing natural about it at all, because developing sexual feelings for your own sisters is totally illogical from a species preservation standpoint. Except for that white-haired brother from some other show. Banri says that soon enough, Uka and Seiha will end up liking someone too, which makes them a little embarrassed. Minami compliments Arata, saying he's actually pretty manly. "That's my little sister." He was about to run over and thank her, but she kicked him right where it hurts. It's true that Arata does look manly, but with that dog-eating personality, it's a lost cause. Uka even tells her brother not to waste their dad's good genes. This Saturday, the whole family's going out to celebrate the youngest, Kotono's birthday, and before Arata can even give his opinion, Uka already made the decision. Even though he's the eldest son in the family, he keeps getting bossed around by his younger siblings. The 5 Shianji sisters are so famous that they even have their own fan club at school. And all the boys are super jealous of Arata and Shion, the 2 brothers. Arata is pretty annoyed because outsiders just can't understand what it's like to grow up in a house with 5 sisters, all born 5 years apart. You can't even fight back when they hit you, and your parents never take your side. First, there's the eldest sister, Banri, a freshman at a prestigious university, known for her gentle personality and her dream of becoming a nurse. The second sister, Seiha, is currently the head of the science club. Her cool, aloof personality has attracted a lot of fans. The third sister, Uka, is not only a top student, but also excels at sports, and she's a candidate for student council president. The fourth sister, the tomboy Minami, is a tennis prodigy who has won many tournaments back in middle school. And finally, the youngest sister, who is shy and petite, is doted on by all 4 of her older siblings. Emerson joked that if the 5 of them weren't related by blood, this would be a bittersweet, romantic coming-of-age story. But since they're all biological sisters, Arata isn't interested at all. Right at that moment, Arata happened to spot a super beautiful girl strolling across the schoolyard. Emerson quickly teased his older brother for being shy around girls because of a misunderstanding in the past. That night, Arata tried to muster up the courage to text the girl he saw that morning, but since they weren't even friends yet, texting her was out of the question. Just then, Uka came over to Arata's room to borrow his notebook since the 2 of them are twins. Arata advised Uka to dress a bit more modestly, but she argued that at home, there's no need to cover up. She was also really curious about Arata's love story with the girl from that morning. When she found out the girl was on the same committee as her, Uka wanted to play matchmaker for the 2 of them. However, Arata refused because he didn't want Uka meddling in his business so casually, which made Uka sulk like a storm and storm off. She didn't forget to wish that Arata would never find a decent wife for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, the youngest sister was sitting and looking at the family photo, and for some reason, her eyes were drawn to Arata. The next afternoon, Arata accidentally found out that the girl he liked already had a boyfriend. That's why he doesn't believe in fate. To him, fate has to be something that's set from the start, like siblings in a family or a lifelong friend. Today is the birthday party of the youngest sister, Kotono. While everyone was celebrating her, Arata was lost in thought about fate. Suddenly, the 2 sisters, Uka and Minami, started arguing because Minami had lost one of Uka's AirPods that she had borrowed, so Uka gave her a lesson. Shion tried to step in and stop the two sisters, but they ignored him, and Minami even blurted out that she didn't need a sister like Uka. This made Arata angry. He thought Minami was talking nonsense because nothing is more important than family. Even though his younger siblings often boss him around, Arata is still the eldest brother in the family. A little while later, their father came home, so all 7 siblings raised the glasses to celebrate Kotono's birthday. Before they sat down to eat, he wanted to tell all 7 siblings something important, that none of them are actually blood-related, which completely shocked Arata. However, their father didn't explain the deeper reasons behind the story, simply saying that he had adopted all of them. To be exact, only Minami and Shion are twins, and the rest have no blood relation at all. He decided to reveal this on Kotono's 15th birthday because he believed everyone was mature enough to handle the truth. And if anyone has any questions, he said he would answer them all. But since today is Kotono's birthday, he wanted everyone to cheer up and have a good time. But all 7 siblings just couldn't bring themselves to be happy after hearing such a shocking truth. During the party, each of the Shianji siblings was weighed down by heavy emotions. How could they possibly enjoy the birthday party after finding out that none of them are actually related by blood? The heavy atmosphere surrounding the 7 siblings led the eldest sister to serve herself some tea, giving her younger siblings some space. After the birthday party, everyone was lost in thought, reflecting on the relationships among the 7 sisters in the house. Only Minami remained cheerful and energetic as usual, surprising everyone that she was still in the mood to eat. Everyone believed that Minami's optimism and cheerfulness were inherited from their father, but Seiha thought otherwise, since they were all adopted by him. Uka knew it wasn't their father's fault, but she wished he had chosen a different time to tell them. He had kept this secret from all of them for so long, but Uka wanted to know if he was lying to the siblings in the family. But logically speaking, it made perfect sense for him to reveal this to all 7 siblings on Kotono's 15th birthday. When Kotono moved into the house, Banri was already 4 years old, but she had forgotten almost all of her childhood memories. The truth is, Banri did remember something, but she chose to stay silent because everyone had already been through enough tonight. But she felt that this issue no longer mattered. Even though they weren't related by blood, after living together for 15 years, they were still siblings in the same house. Minami also cracked a few silly jokes to lighten the tense atmosphere in the room. After everyone left, Uka noticed that Arata was deep in thought about something. And it wasn't just Arata. Before that, Kotono also had a lot she couldn't put into words. Today was a terrible day for Arata. Not only did he get his heart broken, but he also had to face a shocking truth, leaving his head aching. While taking a shower, he accidentally saw the pile of underwear belonging to the 5 sisters. It seems like the rom-com scenario his little brother imagined yesterday could actually happen. He felt that his dad chose a pretty reasonable time to reveal the truth, since after living together and growing up, by now they were mature enough to understand. Arata had just stepped into the bathroom when he realized his youngest sister was inside, so he had to step back out, but then she unexpectedly asked her big brother to scrub her back like always. After helping Kotono scrub her back, Arata even reminded his little sister to bathe with warm water to stay healthy. He really is an amazing big brother. Uka felt pretty bad for Kotono, thinking that learning such a shocking truth on her birthday could really affect her high school entrance exams. Stern was the quietest one in the group since he didn't really feel anything after learning the truth. He also teased his older sister when he saw Uka wanting to know what Arata was thinking. Even though they're not related by blood, the two of them have lived together like twins for 16 years, so they have what you might call a twin-like connection. Stern told Uka not to worry, since Arata has always been a reliable big brother. Nothing will change unless you start talking about things like siblings marrying each other. And right now, the youngest, Kotono, is hugging Arata from behind, kicking off a story that stirs things up among the 7 siblings. How will Arata, someone who has always valued family, deal with his 5 sisters when he finds out they're not actually related by blood? In the second episode, just the idea of marrying a sibling in the family makes Uka feel disgusted, even though Stern was only giving an example. Besides, now that none of them are actually related by blood, even if they did get married, there wouldn't be any legal issues. But he still gets scolded by his older sister for even thinking about siblings marrying each other in the family, saying it's absolutely disgusting. She also tells Stern to keep an eye on that pervy older brother Arata so he doesn't go crazy, even though he's as upright as a saint. The reason Arata gets called a pervert by this brat is because in the past, the sisters saw him on top of Kotono, even though it was just an accident. Of course, Uka knows Arata isn't some kind of beast who'd even get turned on by his own little sister. However, she still thinks there's something more going on behind the scenes. So Stern ends up revealing that Kotono actually used to have a crush on her own brother, which totally shocks Uka. But Arata turned her down because, after all, they're siblings. She wouldn't give up, which is why Arata ended up pinning Kotono down. Arata told Stern about this, but he made his little brother promise not to tell anyone else because it would only hurt Kotono more. And maybe at that young and impressionable age, Kotono might have confused having a crush with simply admiring her brother. But if Kotono really did have feelings for Arata, maybe she wouldn't have to suffer in silence anymore. Meanwhile, Kotono is hugging Arata in the bathroom, and she even confesses that she likes him. But Arata can't accept something so unreasonable. Kotono wants to know why Arata won't agree, since she's already looked up the marriage laws. But Arata thinks she's confused romantic love with the kind of affection siblings have for each other. Even if they're not related by blood, Arata's still Kotono's older brother, so he'll just pretend nothing happened. And what happened between the siblings in the bathroom was actually witnessed by someone. That night, just as their father predicted, Banri also came to his room. Meanwhile, Arata's reflecting on why Kotono suddenly started acting so strangely. As soon as he steps into his room, he sees his older sister Siha already waiting for him inside. Arata's room is the smallest of all the siblings' rooms because when they were 10, they all drew lots to divide up the rooms, and Uka ended up with the biggest one. But Arata doesn't understand what's so interesting about his room that his bookworm sister suddenly feels like exploring it. Right at that moment, Seiha suddenly pins Arata down on the bed, leaving him completely panicked. She tells Arata to keep quiet and then presses her face against him, making him mistakenly think that Seiha is just like Kotono. Actually, Seiha only did that to check Arata's physical reaction, since she had seen what Kotono did in the bathroom. She was about to take a shower when she saw the two of them inside, so she stood outside to eavesdrop. From what Siha knows, Kotono has had feelings for Arata for a while, but she thinks the girl is just confusing being close to her brother with being in love. And maybe, after finding out that she and her brother aren't actually related by blood, Kotono couldn't hold back anymore and confessed her feelings to Arata. But this made Seiha feel that Arata handled the situation just like the eldest son of the family would. If things like this keep happening, it's really something to worry about. That's why she decided to test Arata to see if he really had any feelings for his stepsisters, and as it turned out, Arata was as upright as ever. She explained that the reason Japan prohibits incestuous marriages is because of customs and traditions, and that personal feelings aren't taken into consideration. From a scientific perspective, combining distinct genes helps create a healthier individual, so things like teenage rebellion are thought to help prevent that, but after what happened tonight, that no longer holds true. Since none of them are actually related by blood except for Minami and CERN, everyone else could technically marry each other. Siblings aren't an exception either, and the whole situation left Arata completely clueless about what his sister was even talking about. Sihara insisted that she was just stating the objective truth. Earlier, Arata's heartbeat was totally normal, so there really wasn't anything to worry about. Before leaving, Siha reminded Arata that she was still his older sister, so he wasn't allowed to just call her by name. At the very least, he should add Chand to make it sound a little cuter. Arata understood exactly what Seiha was trying to say. He had lived with everyone as siblings for 16 years, so now he just couldn't change that anymore. And just now, besides checking Arata's heartbeats, Siha also discovered that her little brother didn't show any unusual reactions when she tried to seduce him. After a long day filled with all sorts of things, Arata was completely exhausted. When he was about to leave for school, he saw Banri and Kotono, the two sisters, cosplaying as nurses in a really weird way. This was Banri's internship uniform, so she deliberately wore it to tease Arata, which totally annoyed him. Today, the Shinoji siblings were once again the center of attention when they arrived at school. It made Sun wonder what would happen if everyone found out they weren't actually blood-related siblings. But as far as family matters go, everyone still treats each other like real brothers and sisters. On the outside, Kotono doesn't seem any different, but she's probably pretty shaken up too. Outwardly, all the siblings seem fine, but in reality, only Arata knows that some of them are actually feeling unsettled. Right at that moment, he happened to run into Minami at the locker area since she had the day off from tennis practice. Among all the siblings, Minami is the most energetic and always brings a cheerful atmosphere. And in the future, Minami will become a candidate for the Olympics, which makes Arata pretty jealous. As soon as Minami stepped out onto the schoolyard, the girls immediately surrounded her to ask for some photos, which left Arata a bit overwhelmed. Back when she first started school, Minami once pretended to be a boy with her friends, and the story spread, so now she actually has a few female fans. Today, Minami had the day off from practice. She was supposed to go out and have fun, but instead she went straight home, which really confused Arata. That's when Minami finally confessed that she had failed all her subjects, which completely shocked her older brother. When it comes to athletic ability, Minami is among the top in the whole country, yet her academic performance is the worst among all the Shianji siblings. So Arata decided to drag this airhead out to a cafe to tutor her. However, no matter how much Arata explained, Minami still didn't understand a thing. Now that I think about it, it actually makes sense that the two siblings aren't related by blood. Right at that moment, music suddenly started playing in the cafe, so Minami ditched studying to go sing, leaving Arata completely speechless. But honestly, this is exactly what his little sister is like. Minami has always been energetic and cheerful. Because of her easygoing personality, she's the one Arata worries about the least. Being around Minami always makes him feel happy, and she's also the energetic older sister, so maybe that's why. On his way home from school, Arata accidentally saw Curtis on a date with his girlfriend, so he got embarrassed and hid. After that, Arata reminded his younger sibling to focus on studying from now on, since they'd already had enough fun this afternoon. Minami also really wants to know who her biological parents are, so she's gonna meet her dad to ask about it. Even though Minami is usually carefree, she's very serious when it comes to talking about family matters. Actually, since Arata isn't related by blood, he's really just an upperclassman at Minami's school. But Minami tells her brother that titles don't matter. What's important is the 15 years they've lived together. That's what truly counts. So Minami advises her brother not to be upset about his heartbreak anymore, since Uka already told her about it, which makes Arata really annoyed. She thinks Arata still has a lot of good qualities. He loves his family and is super responsible, so there's no shortage of girls who like him. Then she pats his head to comfort him, acting like she's got it all figured out. And Arata, acting like a real big brother, tells Minami to go home and study right away, forbidding her from playing games. That night, Minami returned the AirPods with Uka's name on them and gave her older sister a cake as an apology for her bratty attitude the day before. Uka accepted Minami's apology, then gave her the AirPods as a gift and reminded her not to lose them again next time. After that, the two sisters ate cake and drank tea together. Episode 3. That morning, after Arata finished his morning routine, he ran into his little sister Kotono, and Kotono couldn't even look him in the eye. Even so, Arata still thought his little sister was acting normal after that confession the other day. He was so lost in thought that he didn't even notice his older sister Seiha standing next to him, and Seiha was clearly upset because Arata didn't call her Seiha-chan like she'd told him to the day before. While the two sisters were talking about their youngest sister Kotono, Minami suddenly ran over and interrupted him. She called Arata by the new affectionate nickname Senpai, which surprised Seiha a bit, since that term is usually reserved for adults, leaving Arata feeling salty for no reason. At school, Uka happened to catch Arata sneaking a peek at Curtis, and she teased him relentlessly when she found out that Curtis already had a boyfriend. Arata realized that Uka was very friendly at school, always surrounded by people, which was completely different from her fierce and irritable personality at home. He had no idea that some other girls were interested in him too, like the group of friends who usually hung out with Uka. One girl even tried to confess her feelings to Arata, but Uka stopped her. Then she went on to tell all of Arata's bad habits to the girls, her face blushing as if she was actually praising him instead. Tomorrow, the 7 siblings will be going to the seaside park to celebrate Kotono's birthday, and Arata hopes that nothing else will happen. The next morning, the 7 siblings arrived at the park very early, but it was still really crowded. The 2 hyperactive girls, Uka and Minami, excitedly ran off to play, completely forgetting who the real star of the day was. When Uka complained about being hungry, big sister Bonri decided to go buy snacks for her younger siblings. She asked Arata to come along to help carry the food, but when they got back, everyone had wandered off, leaving him completely speechless. He tried calling the others, but no one picked up. So Bonri decided to invite Arata to hang out with her alone, which caught him a bit off guard, even though to everyone else, they were just known as siblings. After that, Bonri kept coming up with all sorts of flirty antics to tease Arata, making him feel like she was taking the joke a bit too far. But she insisted that getting to hang out with such a beautiful older sister was a special privilege for a little brother. Arata also noticed that a lot of people were watching the two of them. Even though his older sister's personality was a bit quirky, he had to admit that she was completely different from the other sisters. Because he was so caught up admiring Bonri, Arata almost tripped and fell flat on his face, but Bonri reached out her hand for him to hold. It was really cute. After that, the two of them went on the roller coaster, so all Arata could do was call for help from Emerson, who was hanging out with the other sisters. Knowing Bonri's personality, Uka guessed that Arata was probably being spun around like a top by her right now. Right now, it's actually Uka's group that's separated from the others, but instead of going to find Arata, Uka wants everyone to take this opportunity to do all the things Kotono likes, not caring at all what those two are up to. The two sisters also spent quite a bit of time looking for their younger siblings, but still couldn't find them anywhere. Arata was about to call the kids a few more times, but Bonri stopped him, guessing that her siblings were probably having a great time. Banri invited Arata to hang out and eat some snacks, but he didn't dare after going through a bunch of thrill rides. Banri's smile at that moment made him feel like she was really starting to look like a young woman. Even though she felt a little sad after hearing her father's story, she realized she was okay and would ask him for more details in the future. She also rarely saw Arata ask such a gentle question because so much had happened afterward that he just hoped their sibling relationship wouldn't change. This really surprised Banri because her little brother had truly grown up. Not long ago, he used to run to her and complain whenever Uka and the other siblings ganged up on him, but now he's all grown up. Banri understands that her younger siblings are still students, so it's normal for them to worry. Besides, everyone is always cared for each other. As the eldest sister, Banri will be the pillar of support for everyone, so she hopes Arata doesn't have to worry too much. In the past, it was always Banri who stood up to protect Arata whenever those 3 girls bullied him, making him feel that she has always been a precious big sister to him. Right at that moment, 2 cups of water suddenly fell toward Banri, so Arata used his own body to shield her. Banri scolded her little brother, saying he shouldn't have done that because the steam would be really hard to wash out, but he said that as her younger brother, he also had to protect his big sister, which moved her deeply. At that moment, the 2 of them happened to run into the 5 leopards who were out having fun, so they decided to join the group and keep the party going. After that, she asked Arata to hold her hand, but before he could even agree, Banri took the initiative and grabbed Arata's hand herself, since after all, they're siblings. Night finally fell, but the group of young leopards still had energy to party after a whole day of fun. Arata was feeling tired, so he, along with Sean and Kotono, left to freshen up right after that. Taking advantage of Kotono's absence, Seiya told the other 4 sisters about how Kotono hugged Arata in the bathroom. However, Seiya told everyone not to worry because she had checked and saw that Arata handled the situation just like a model big brother would. Moreover, he doesn't react to any of the sisters in the house either.